What's up, Refuge family? This is Pastor David here with today's Refuge Devo, and I want to share something that I just went through um, with my students in high school. We just finished a sermon series that we did. Man, it took like 7 or 8 weeks. It was awesome, though. We called it the Big Seven, and we looked at the 7 I am statements that are found in the Gospel of John. We talked about that each time we go through one of these statements. It's a big deal, and it's important for us to know, I guess, how vitally important these statements are, because each time that these statements come to be, each time that Jesus says "I am," Jesus, number one, is declaring himself to be God. It points back to the story, if you guys remember, in Exodus chapter 3, where God appears to Moses in this burning bush and essentially tells Moses, "Hey, you got to go and tell Pharaoh to let my people go." And Moses is like, "Well, what am I supposed to say to Pharaoh? Who should I say sent me?" And he says, "Tell him I am sent you." So when Jesus in the Gospel of John says, "I am," and then says, a statement, number one, he's saying, "I'm God," right? And number two, each time the "I am" statement is followed with "I am blank," fill in the blank, it gives us an idea as to what this God is like. Gives us, you could say, almost like a window into the heart of God. And so this past Sunday, we finished our series, and we looked at John chapter 10. And out of the 7 I am statements, this one is my favorite. I'm going to read it. I'm going to start reading from verse 11, and we're going to read to verse 18. John 10, verse 11, it says, "I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep, so when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. Then the wolf attacks the flock and scatters it. The man runs away because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep." Now, real quick on this, Jesus had been talking with some of the Pharisees, and so really even before this section, he's kind of comparing and contrasting it. Man, there's the real deal and there's the phonies, right? The real shepherd goes through the gate or through the door, while thieves and robbers, the phonies, the people that didn't get there in a legitimate way, they climb over the fence, right? And so now he's kind of comparing and contrasting. He's like, the good shepherd, or I should say that the hirelings, the people that don't really care, when a wolf comes, when an enemy comes or whatever, to attack the sheep, the hirelings, they don't really care about the sheep whatsoever, right? So they're going to bail. They're going to be like, "Oh, dude, this is getting difficult. It's getting dangerous. I don't care about these sheep. I'm leaving. I'm out of here." The good shepherd's not like that, though, and we'll see this, right? Verse 14, "I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me. Just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. The reason my Father loves me is that I lay down my life only to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down and authority to take it up again. This command I've received from my Father." I just mentioned a little bit earlier to this, you have another "I am" statement that literally just kind of bleeds in with "I am the good shepherd." And the statement right before this that's found in John 10 is "I am the door." Or depending on your Bible translation, it might be I am the gate. And so the reason why this one is my favorite, and we talked about this the other night with the students in our small group time, is this "I am" statement is so relationally charged. When it talks about God being our good shepherd, it's so relational. I even wrote down some of the stuff that it tells us in John chapter 10 about this good shepherd. It says, I'm just going to list these off. It says that the good shepherd knows his sheep by name and leads them. Like, God knows me. Doesn't know about me, is not familiar with me. He knows me. Right? Psalm 139 says that he was weaving me together with intention. And man, he knows He knows the good, the bad, and the ugly. He knows he knows everything. He knows every thought I've ever thought. He knows the deepest insecurities that I have, the deepest insecurities that you have. And he still loves us. It's wild. He knows his sheep by name and he leads them. He leads them out. He goes before them. He goes on ahead of them, right? It's been said that some shepherds will, even if there's a journey, they need to take their sheep from point A to point B, that they oftentimes will go out and kind of survey the land between point A and point B to understand the terrain, to even find pit stops where the sheep could be able to stop. And it's like, God knows that, right? We can call them pit stops of grace for us from point A to point B. And God knows this path, even though we don't really know the path. But here's the beauty of it. We're sheep, right? If you think of it from a term of like, here's a shepherd and here's the sheep, I don't think the shepherd's looking at the sheep and saying, hey, sheep, you need to have a full understanding as to this entire path, every way the path is going to veer this way and this way, the dangers that lie ahead. It's like, we're sheep. The shepherd simply desires the sheep to listen to his voice and to follow his lead. That is so comforting, right? The shepherd goes before the sheep. The shepherd offers salvation to his sheep. That's in verse 9. The shepherd gives pasture and satisfaction and security to his sheep. It's also in verse 9. He gives his sheep an abundant life, or life to the fullness. That's verse 10. He lays down his life for the sheep. That's verse 11. He has ownership over his sheep. That's verse 12. He protects his sheep. That's verse 12 and 13. And really from 1 to 18 speaks to the reality that this good shepherd loves his sheep. He loves us. So to me, when I'm thinking about like, man, God, you are my good shepherd. You protect me. You know me. You offer me salvation. You give me an abundant life. I have security in you, right? And I'm not going to claim to have this vast knowledge on sheep because I just don't. But I'm just thinking of like, you have these sheep and you have the shepherd, and the shepherd is calling out to his sheep. The shepherd has ownership over the sheep. And he's calling out to them. And these sheep, they follow him because they know his voice. They're not just familiar with his voice, they know his voice. There's deep comfort when they hear his voice. They trust the voice of their shepherd, and so they follow. And the shepherd might even call them to areas where it's like difficult, where it seems scary. But they will follow because they know their shepherd. I was just thinking for us, man, life will throw us so many different curveballs. Change of jobs, change of scenery, loss of family members, financial crisis, global crisis, the stuff that's going on right now. And essentially, we're like the sheep that are being spooked by all these different things that are around us. If we're not careful, the circumstances become louder than the voice of our shepherd, who's calling us to himself and saying, follow me, trust me, I'm with you, I promise I'm with you. I know you by name. Remember, I know that insecurity. I know the different things you're going through, right? I'm the one that created you. I know you. I've given you, the satisfaction. I will continue to give you satisfaction. I'll continue to give you this abundant life. I will continue to make you secure. Trust me. Listen to my voice. And so I think the encouragement for you, the encouragement for me, is to like, man, we overcomplicate this thing that we call Christianity when simply it is follow the voice of our shepherd, our good shepherd, the one who's laid down his life for us, the one who knows us, the one who gives us security, the one who protects us. So whatever it is you're facing right now, whatever it is that you're going through, do not buy into the lie or the temptation, or I should say, don't give the enemy space in your life to allow the voice of your circumstances to be louder than the voice of your good shepherd who is calling you to himself today. And I would just say, as the encouragement that we get in John chapter 15, which I think I talked about the last time we did one of these, is, abide. Stay not just close to Jesus, but plugged into Jesus, because we cannot do this thing apart from that. And so, Refuge family, Please know that your good shepherd, he knows you so, he knows you so well. He knows what you're going through right now. In fact, if you were listening right now, whether you're listening today or this is like a month after, you've randomly just stumbled across this video a while, it's been months and months and months. Know that what you are going through right now, know that the things that you went through this morning or this afternoon or whatever, God knows it and is saying he is there for you. And right now he is calling you to himself. And he's saying, listen to my voice. Refuge family, we love you, and we will catch you next time.